Good evening. Ooh, didn't like that. Let me see something. That's better. How are we all this evening? I can't see you yet. Nice. Always sit here in a bit of a daze as we start. It never shows me who's live or who's commented for a couple of moments, and that's okay. Oh, here we go. Hello, Magnets Love. How are you? I'm doing free readings if you haven't met me before. I'm Elizabeth Bratcher, psychic medium. I always use my Elizacle deck when I read on the lives. This is my deck. I created this deck. And so it's just a nice visual extension of the psychic energy I'm getting through. Helps create the visual and helps us move along quickly too, if I must say. I am well. I have been recovering, and honestly, I've been a little bit tired, but yeah, no, I'm doing good. Thank you for asking. I hope that you're well too. Hello, Samara. So I never quite know how to say your name. I know it's locked in my head, but I never quite know if I'm saying it right. I hope that you're well. So, guys, if you want a free reading, just please, you know the drill, or some of you may know the drill, but please just ask for a reading. Feel free to comment more than once as well. Amanda Joy says, good evening, everyone. Good evening to you. What is this asking me to do? Oh, yeah, okay. Might do that another time. May I please receive a future love reading with what will the person I am meant to marry be like? Thank you. Let me have a look. I'm shuffling the cards but not putting them down because, yeah, I want to give you my words actually on this one. So let me just put the cards down. When I sit with your energy around the person that you're going to marry, okay, I feel like it's not the person that you're going to expect. And I feel like you need to be open to that as well. I don't want to say that there's anything that you're doing that's wrong or anything else like that. But I feel like we're kind of got this vision as we do of what our ideal person looks like, okay? And when I say open your mind, I don't want you to open your mind to accept second best. I want you to open your mind to see that they can look like different things and come in looking different ways as well, okay? There's a gentleness that sits with this person, and I don't want to say that their gentleness surpasses their looks or anything else like that, because I feel like this person is handsome. However, I feel like it is their gentleness that kind of almost takes you off guard, but becomes such an asset. I was having a conversation about this the other day, about how we get approached with such respect and tenderness, and when we're not used to it, we can kind of look at that person almost with a disregard until we recognize it for what it is. And so I want to encourage you just to be playful and adventurous in that, and just not, I wanted to say loosen your boundaries, but I don't want it to sound like I'm saying that, you know, but open, just open. You're walking in a meadow and you're looking at the flowers in front of you, but don't forget there's a huge forest around you as well, all right? So I'll leave that there with you, and I hope it helps. Amanda. Hey, Ree, how are you? Leah, I'll catch you in a second. I just want to grab Amanda. Love a reading. Let me slow the comments down. Nice. You know what I like? I had to get a new laptop. I can touch the screen. I'm still getting used to that. All right, love a reading on if you see any chance of moving house soon. There needs to be more energy here, okay? I'm not saying that you're not putting enough energy into it, but there's that diligence of dunk, 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 okay? Even when you know it's like, yeah, I'm definitely moving, I want to say to you that diligence needs to be there. I just feel like there's not enough energy in it to get it done in the time frame that you want, okay? A little bit of frustration and perhaps folded arms. And when I say folded arms, it's because we've kind of had to deal with stuff that's not fair. Don't let that energy get in your way. Okay. You've got the no card and you've got the growth card and you've also got the spirit card. The no card's always an emphasizer card, okay? So no, betrayal. Cheapen wolf's clothing, okay? Let things be more factual for you. Let yourself have a little bit more faith, and then things like that within play with here too. You can feel my words getting mumbled up because my brain's really wanting to say that this isn't about other people. And it's not about you necessarily betraying yourself, but there's too much, you know what I want to say? There's too much muffle, you know, and that's like a silly word, but it's like too much is in the way here. Just clear the energy. Give yourself a bit of a break if you need to, and allow yourself to keep moving forward, okay? The whole time that I've been sitting with you, from the moment that I started drawing the cards, you've got the 6-month energy that's sitting in and around. But again, you can see I've chosen to emphasize on the fact that your energy needs to come into play here because that's what's important. The growth card is there. There's always lessons to be learned. Oh, my color just shifted. The spirit card. I think you've been reading with me long enough to know, Amanda, when this card comes out, it's always a nice sign from spirit saying that they've got your back. All right, I said that I would catch Leah, so I'm going to do that. And I forgot I can show the comments, so I'm going to do that. Let me take a breath. I've been told I talk too fast sometimes, and I'm aware of that sometimes, but it's also how the energy flows at times. All right, Leo. You got a lot of jumpy energy here. Let me sit. All right. Okay, I giggled because you have the spirit card as well. And the reason why I giggled is because when I was preparing dinner earlier, I had a big day with mediumship that kind of sat in different ways and things like that. Anywho, I was just reflecting on how the psychic readings, the live readings are about psychic readings, and, you know, put that little thing of like no mediumship. And it's just funny. It made me laugh that the first 2 readings that come out have the spirit card in, and it's almost like spirit's going, man, no, we come when we want to. Thank you very much. And it's like, yeah, I know, you've got an open invitation. But bringing it back to you for a second, okay, Leah, this card does come because spirit wants you to know that they are around. And I know that that's a really generic thing to say, but when I made this deck, I strictly kept it psychic and just kept getting that tap on the shoulder going, no. We want people to know we're here for them, and it always comes out when it's needed to, so much so that I have faith in that card and can just say, spirit is there. They are supporting you, okay? Stand strong in your energy. And it's interesting because when I come in on you, you could see I was playful. I had a funny, a happy vibe and all of that, and I still do as I sit with your energy. But as I sit with your cards, you've also got the Where Are You card, and that's the biggest card in the deck. And it just asks you to reflect a little bit on where you're at, okay? I don't want to get too deep and heavy with you, but I feel like, it's funny, I feel like I'm at the start of a year. You know, that energy that you have when it's the start of a year and we're moving forward and all that kind of thing. And I want to say to you, just take a moment just to sort of sit and reflect, okay? And I don't feel like it's like at this point in time about massive changes. I feel like if they've had to happen, they've happened. I feel like it's bringing yourself back into alignment and back into your true sense of self. I feel like this is you walking, but I feel like you're walking next to yourself, and you just need to come back a little bit. And I hope that makes sense. Okay, so just, yeah, I hope that makes sense. Let me know if it doesn't. I'm going to leave that there with you. I feel like that's enough. All right, let me catch up with the comments. So, guys, as I do catch up with the comments, I want to say please feel free to comment more than once. I do catch up, and so sometimes people get missed. Please don't go boom, 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 because why? But do please feel free to comment more than once. I just want to comment, Liz, your hair looks great down. You know, it's funny, in all honesty, my hair is such a for me. And I've been to 2 hairdressers in 20 years, I'll be honest. And I have a hairdresser appointment next week, and I'm super excited about it. And it took me like 6 months to get into the headspace to book it. And yeah, ADHD traits. But yeah, I'm super excited. So there you go. All right, going to catch up with the comments. You're very welcome. David. Would love to know if I'm in the right place work-wise. I'm very unsure at the moment. Straight away when I sit with your energy, David, I want to say this is about the long haul. I don't want to say that there's not reward to be had here and all of those kind of little bits and pieces, but I do feel like this is for the long haul. So we're here. I want to say here for a good time, not for a long time, even though I don't want to be too flippant with that time energy, because I don't feel like you just jump in and jump out here. I feel like there's substance to be had. I've got to say, one of the biggest things that's underwriting my energy at the moment, I keep getting the word camaraderie. And it's interesting because as I say that to you, I also feel like you're perhaps not actually working with a lot of people. But I do want to say to you that that camaraderie energy is sitting quite strong. So are you in the right place work-wise? I feel that you are right now for more reasons than just beyond work. And I'm not talking about the camaraderie, okay? I'm not. It's just the overall energy and where it enables you to move forward to as well. And I almost feel like the discipline that's required around the job almost forces a discipline on you that lets you move forward to a place that you want to be. And I hope you can see I've got a cheeky grin on my face when I say that. And I want to say financially too. It just feels like it allows you to put things back in order. Let me pull you a couple of cards. I'm going to pull two, I can't. Nice, all right. So crossroads, choices, changes, directions, all of those kind of little bits and pieces, that's there. You already know you're feeling drawn to walk a particular path, and so let yourself do that. Don't take I know you're not going to, but just keep walking that way, okay? This card here, it specifically represents, it was one of the last cards I put into the deck, and it says the answers are blowing in the wind. And what it talks about is that the path in front of you is there. You're on the path, you can see it. The reason why you can't see the outcome, though, is that there's still lessons that need to come into play. And this is why I say this is actually going to be more about work, not just about work for you. It's encompassing life. You've got the duck card, okay? I wanted to pull you 4 cards, not 3. The duck card literally just says, if it looks like a duck, walks like a duck, and quacks like a duck, it's a duck. See things for what they are. And I say that to yourself, okay? See your own challenges and everything else like that you have as you fall into alignment. But notice how they're not in alignment with what you want. And so let yourself have that struggle with the falling into place kind of energy that's there, because it's wanting to take you where you want to go, okay? And with that, a change of luck comes in. Energies will shift for the better, all right? So I'll leave that energy there with you, and I hope that it helps, David. All right. I would love to know what to do with my childhood home. Also, will Joey make his regional soccer team? I feel that Joey will get an opportunity around the regional soccer team, but it comes up quite quickly. I'm not overly familiar with sport, but like sitting on a reserves, okay? So it's almost like I don't want to say on the bench or anything else like that, but it's like we're all but we're there, okay? And so like, a player hurts themselves, a player can't play, those kind of little bits and pieces. I sit with that energy, and then I'm sort of shown that he'll also get his time to shine within that as well. And that this year's kind of like almost like a smoothing in year. It's almost like he's coming in early. And I don't want to say that literally like he's coming in early, but it's like he's on the younger end of it all, And so his talent's kind of just having an opportunity to fall into place. And it's there. That's why they're letting him there, okay? But I just feel like next year is like the good flow. This year's about learning that flow, I guess, as far as it sits, okay? And I sit with that in a positive energy. Now, what do you do with the childhood home? I feel like with that, there's like almost two sides to the story that's there. We can spend the time, the money, the energy, and get it to a certain point, or we can allow ourselves to move on, because there's a good chance that the person that comes in is perhaps going to do other things with that space. and energy that's there with it, okay? For now, if you're not sure, honestly, I feel like it's almost like sit on it. But as I say that to you, then I get that big, almost like repair bill that sits there on the side with it. I think, honestly, your energy knows where it needs to go. It may not necessarily be where you ultimately saw it going. But also, you know what I'm reminded of very acutely, actually, is that childhood homes from a tradition, I get times are changing these days, or perhaps they're not, I don't know. But, you know, when we look at our grandparents and our parents, tradition goes that they have their assets and, you know, they pass, inheritance gets passed down, the parents work, they build their assets up, it gets passed down. In fortunate circumstances, I get it's not just a given in that regard. But what I am reminded of is that process that's there. And so this home, whilst it represents a home, also represents a future for the generations, okay? And so with that, I'm reminded to let it better you, don't let it hinder you, okay? It's not meant to be a hindrance. It's meant to be something that lets you move forward, that you have a fuller life, that you have security, all of those kind of little bits and pieces that's there. So let it serve its job in the fashion that that looks like, okay? I hope that helps. Kylie, I keep catching your energy. Would love a reading if you feel drawn. Good timing. I just opened Facebook to see this. Kylie Dawson. You know what, Kylie? I feel like you just need a little bit of a, yep. You might be tired, but oh, finish line's just up there. Get off your ass. You know what? It's nice. You've got the dead end card that's there. You've got the releasing binds card. And you've also got the healing card, okay? And it was funny because I kind of said to myself, you watch the cards come out heavy now. I've kind of made a little bit of a giggle with you. But I actually want to keep the giggle that's there. And that dead end represents old ways, old habits, and old ways of thinking and all of those kind of little bits and pieces. That letting go, releasing binds, that healing card. I feel like you've actually come to a point where the awareness is acute. The self-awareness is acute, the mindfulness is there, all of those kind of little bits and pieces. And so with that comes the awareness that it's actually time to let go. And the scary part about that is that you're ready, you know, and that's where that healing talks about. And I specifically have written on the card that, I know it's hard to read, but being patient, but allowing the healing to come in. And it's funny because I said as I was pulling the cards, I feel like they're going to be validation. And that's that validation. You are ready to allow the healing to come in. So don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to feel stronger in that. Don't be afraid of the reflection that it then enables upon others. It's not about to anyone else or anything else like that, but it's about just going, you know what, this is who you are. I accept that. And it's things from all over the place. As I said, this isn't about something that's big and like, oh my God, yes, I've been working through this. And it's about the fact that you're ready to just, yeah, you've got this really pivotal energy. And so it's like old habits. Now it's time for them. They die hard, okay, but they are dead, all right? And so let them be. And you've got this. You absolutely do have this. I just feel like you're getting caught up a little bit in it all. So, yeah, I hope that helps genuinely because, wow, your energy is just really nice, really, really nice. I imagine others are seeking a lot of advice off you right now. All right, I'm going to catch up. You're welcome. You're welcome. Sarah Boland, I can see you up there. Would like to ask about my relationship, please, and thank you. When I saw your comment, it was just hidden underneath the hide, what do they call it? The current comment that's there. And I was like, oh, yeah, I forgot to hide the current comment. But your energy just pooped like that. I want to be a little bit cheeky with you and say to you straight off the bat, trust your gut. Trust your gut. I expected it to be the dark, but yeah, that's acceptable. I'm just following. I'm not going to run through all the cards. nice. All right, your cards you got. Self-trust and self-worth is where it all begins. Okay, self-trust and self-belief is where it all begins, is what the card says. That worth is a bit of a proverbial slip of the tongue, but I think meant to be there as well. As I said, your gut is kind of showing you where things are. There's a change of luck here. Energies are shifting for the better, but I feel like that's through awareness. The pathway is there, but there's lessons that are here. So it's like either take them on board or keep bashing your head against a wall. Okay, this relationship energy that's there, I feel like it's both two-sided. And with respect, I always talk, but I have a limited amount of time and I can come in softer, I can come in factual, But I just feel like it's like when we talk about make a commitment to move forward, because at the moment we're in a position of self-denial. You need to keep yourself grounded and you'll see the improvements there. There's a lot of uncertainty around you, so you need to really think about where you are. There's choices and decisions that need to be made, but you need to remember nothing changes if nothing changes. Okay, and what you need to know most, you need to trust your intuition. You need to look for the sheep in wolf's clothing. You can trust the energy that is around you, but you need to let the healing come in. And so what I want to say to you is that the energy that's in your relationship is so much more than just the two of you. Okay, it's experiences that you've had and all that sort of stuff. And I don't say it in a we bring past into the relationship. I say it in a factual way. It's like your past that lives sitting on the lounge next to you, and it's doing it in subtle ways. Insecurities, lacks of trust, questionings, all of those kind of little bits and pieces. And yet I want to say to you, there's such a strength within the relationship energy, and there's a really nice energy that sits underneath it all. If we can move the chaos off the top of it, that's there. And so I kind of want to encourage you to do that. Hey, yeah, it feels like you're sitting in a really safe place, challenging and stubborn. But again, I feel like that sits on both sides. So I'm going to have a giggle with you and say good luck to you with that. But I do hope that helps because, yeah, there's a nice energy here. Always make your own choices and decisions. If you keep battling against each other, and I'm not saying these are fight and all the rest of it, but if you keep battling each other in those ways, maybe just don't. I don't even need to go there. Just don't. Yeah, it's a nice energy. Sit with it, all right? All right. Lindsay Kate, would love a reading, please, Liz. Always seem to miss your lives. Not tonight, and I hope that you're still here. And then I'll catch up with the comments. Please feel free to comment again if I have missed your comment. Lindsay Kate, would love a reading, please, Liz. While I give the cards a bit of a shuffle, I just will put a little bit of a shout out there. I'm super excited because I'm working with the Body, Mind and Psychic Festival for the first time in Ballina on the 29th and 30th of August. And it's really awesome psychic fair. And it's not just a psychic fair, it's a body, mind and psychic festival. It's so much more than just, So I'm really excited to be there. And I do believe that I have a spot on stage as well. So I'll be doing a mediumship dem as well. So super fortunate for that. And I'm I was reflecting today. I always say I'm excited and I should find a new word. But you know what? Like I sat there and tried to find a new word. And I'm like, no, you know what? I am excited. So I am going to repeat that word. And I am. So I hope to see you all there. Pre-bookings are open. All right, Lindsay Kate. Okay, nice. You've got the letting go card. You've got the take 5 card there, which just talks about mindfulness and recuperation, rest, all of those kind of little bits and pieces. The balance card there, it talks about balance and it reflects on the yin and the yang of life. So everything that kind of comes into balance. But it's nice because I was compelled to keep drawing your cards. I'm like, Liz, I can't keep doing that. But what I want to say to you is that as I do sit with your energy, it's like I'm at the beginning of a new chapter that's there. And it's like, the rest of the cards are going to reflect that. So it's like, letting go, releasing binds, taking a little bit of a moment to find that mindfulness, make sure that you're kind of connected with yourself. And I'm not going to battle the clichéness of that. Just take it for the gospel. You can see I always get caught up when I sound cliche. I'm like, but, when we're recuperating and when we are mindful, that's where restoration, self-awareness and all of those things come from. So I don't say those words flippantly to you, and just bringing your balance into play as well. I feel like for you, there's going to be some choices around opportunity that are coming up. They do feel like it's about moving forward with career and those kind of little bits and pieces. But I want to say location and relationships also come into play with it. I guess because the location is kind of going to be impacted, I feel like there's a choice of movement that can be made that's there, okay? So again, when I say choice into opportunities, it's like these opportunities will be there, but they're not necessarily going to be offered to you. They're going to be ones that you can go, oh, look, there's an opportunity. I may throw my hat in the ring and allow myself to move forward with that. If you don't, you're going to find in a couple of years that you're frustrated because you're kind of sitting stagnant, okay? And that's all right at the end of the day. But hopefully you kind of sit with it and reflect a little bit about where it is that you're wanting to move forward to, and recognizing that right now there's a little bit of a box, okay, a box around you. And it's funny, I tried to make it a cage and my head just went, no, it's just a cardboard box. I tried to make it steel bars and my head just went, no, keep it as a box. And it is. Just being able to lift that off. And I feel like it's just awareness, beginnings, journeys, first steps, all of those kind of little bits and pieces and things like that with it, you know. But really sort of have a think about where it is that you want to be, where it is that you're actually wanting to go, and if what around you right now is serving you, and if an opportunity arises to let you move forward, are you going to get caught in what's here, or are you going to allow yourself to accept what's there, okay? Because you're going to need to do that. And I feel like all of this energy is coming into play over the next 12 months. I feel like in particular 7, 8, 9 months with you, it's like those choices and decisions are there. Around that 12-month mark, the decisions are there. And right now when I'm sitting with your energy, you're taking them. So I want to encourage you to do that, because it doesn't feel like it's that excitement's also filled with fear, trepidation, and unsureness as well. Okay, but nothing shifts if nothing shifts, nothing changes if nothing changes. And so yeah, just be excited ultimately at the end of the day. But you know, sometimes the hands and places that we hold are the very things that kind of hold us back. And it's not because they're bad, it's just because they're no longer in alignment to where we need to be. And you're going to have that reflection over the next 12 months. So I hope that helps. I'll leave that with you, and thank you for joining me. All right. Let's catch up with the comments. I appreciate you watching. Thank you very much for joining me. She goes, I could listen to your readings all night, but it's time to put the kids to bed. Oh, I was lucky tonight. My kids wanted French toast for dinner. So I was like, yep, that works well with my live feed plans. Lisa King, greetings. May I have a future career reading and guidance? Thank you. You're in the right, like for where you want to be and everything else like that. I feel like you're in the right place and the right, let me take that word place back. You're in the right field and you're in the right energy. And it's not that you're in the wrong place, but I feel like if I look at it, right, as I'm showing like 2 office buildings, okay? So this one stands about yay high and you've got one next to it standing about yay high. Right now you're working in this one, whereas if you want to be sitting up and around here, you need to jump buildings. And and this building here feels really nice. I've got to say this building feels nice, but just as a thought of reflection, it's yeah, I get it. It depends on how far you want to go. It does, and like because there's opportunity and energy sitting here, but it's only going to take you so far. Okay, so just keep in mind of that, and you're likely aware of that as well. These 2 buildings are friends, but I dare say no doubt. So you know. I think you've put a lot of time and energy and have a lot of respect. There's a lot of my heart in this reading when I sit with it, as far as, you know, you'd expect career, let's go, but this is my heart sitting there. All right, let me. You've got the self-care card, and I'm just showing you quickly because you've got the yes card, so you've got an emphasizer. You've got the Catch the Rainbow card, your emphasizer. So you've got the self-care card there, which talks about truth, honor, and awareness. So I was trying to show it up on the energy. And it talks about standing in your truth and your honor and your awareness. You had the yes card, and as I said, your one on top of there was the support card. And I was expecting something bigger on that, but I guess, support is really important as well. And it's probably a personal reflection how quickly I can go sport. But it's something that I've also very much am learning to graciously accept. And the more that I hold myself in worth, the more I'm finding that the support that comes in is actually of value too. So, I'll just throw that 2 cents worth in. But it is an emphasizer there that the support is there. So if there's changes that you want to make, you're going to have the support to make them, okay? And your goals are not impossible. Catch the rainbow. And I deliberately kept it as that because, catching the rainbow, chasing the pot of gold and all of these kind of little bits and pieces, it's adventurous, it's fantastious, but the energy is there. And I wanted it to show that your goals are not impossible. Okay, but just kind of keep in mind, I guess, that there has to be a little bit of sacrifice of heart and things like that along the way to actually get ultimately where you want to be. Okay, so I'll leave that there with you, and I hope that it helps. All right, I'm going to catch Natalie. I'm going to read for you, then I'm going to catch up with comments. Natalie Wing, may I have a card, please, Liz? So, guys, just while I'm giving the cards a little bit of a shuffle, I can't see, I don't check ultimately at the end of the day, but I do appreciate if you follow me on whichever platform that you're watching from before you ask for a reading. It's just nice support, it's a nice energy exchange, and I appreciate it. Always appreciate a share and things like that for those so inclined. All right, Natalie. It's nice as I sit and I just kind of bring my energy to your name and to the I guess I was drawn to that little picture that you had there next to it, but I didn't see the picture. I saw the grass, and I kind of saw you just playing and mucking around and having a really nice day, and it made me smile. It gave me a sense that there's an upliftment of energy around you. Things are shifting. You've got some work to do. Let me give you your cards. You've got the changes there, being open to embracing the changes. But you too have got this card here, okay? And it talks about, as I just said, that your goals are not impossible. And you've also got the letting go card that's there and releasing binds. Now, as I said to you, you're an interesting read, and I'll give it to you just as my head does, all right? But as I said, I saw your little photo there, and I just kind of was drawn to more so, again, a happy kind of playful, felt like a picnic on, through the day and those kind of little bits and pieces. There's an upliftment of energy here. And then it was kind of like, yeah, but. And it's not a but it is a but, I guess. But anyway, I get excited. But when I'm sitting with your energy, okay, the reason why I am excited is because you have everything that you need. You're just kind of reluctant to put it into play. And you can see, or hopefully you can see, that my face carries a cheeky smile with you because it's like, oh, come on, be open to embracing the changes that are there. We're on a live feed, so I try to keep it as, as possible as I go. But I want to say to you, reflect on things that keep kind of getting in your way, especially things to do with self and those kind of energies that are there. There's been so much strength, so much effort, so much resilience, I feel already along the way, that I understand where we get to a point where it's like, well, I've tried everything. I honestly do feel like I have tried everything. I want to say to you, though, sometimes it's like, I don't know why I'm being given this example, but it's like going to IKEA and buying flat pack furniture, and you've got all the screws and everything else like that, and all these pieces of wood laying over the floor. You get the instructions, and they're in Chinese, and so there's a visual diagram there, but you can't read nothing. So you've been trying to click-clack this furniture together, doing the best you can, but with a slightly off. And what I say to you is that keep on the track that you're in. There's an awareness of knowledge that's coming in around you that's actually going to give you answers around little bits and pieces and things like that. And so with that energy that's there, just trust where you're at with it. Know that more energy will open up. Be mindful about linking into fads and to promises. Check the qualifications of people. Dead set. Anybody that's listening, oh my God, I'm not even going to start. But check the qualifications of the people that you work with in whatever capacity, okay? And I'm talking about obviously a more clinical sense and things like that. But you've got answers that are there with it, okay? You very much have got answers that are coming, but it's going to be up to you to actually go, okay, I've got the energy to give this one more go. And you're going to find that that heaviness, that tiredness, that everything else that's been sitting there begins to lift, okay? So I'll leave that there with you, and I hope that it helps. And I want to encourage you to pay very much close attention to the things that you're noticing and educating about and learning, okay? I hope that helps. All right, let me catch up with the comments. Tara Power, 5960. Hi, lovely. I would love a reading. As I give the cards a quick shuffle, you know what I forgot to say too, which I always like, which costs you nothing. Thumbs up and hearts and bits and pieces like that, whatever you feel is appropriate as far as it sits, but always appreciate those two. They just help engage the algorithm. All right, Tara. You've got funkiness, and I want to encourage you to keep that embraced. All right, you got 2 for 4 there. Nice. Okay, so you've got a no card, so I'll pull you out another card on top because the no and the yes is always an emphasizer. You've got the sunset card that's there. I'll explain in a moment. You've got the balance card, and you've also got the crossroads card, which talks about choices, decisions, and direction, okay? Okay, so you've got the detox card that sits there, okay, letting go of what no longer serves. That no card there shows that there's a resistance around it. The sunset card there shows that it's trying to come in, okay, because sometimes the no is like a, hey, no. But then the no can sometimes emphasize on what we're sitting on as well, depending on what it's sitting next to, and it makes it sound like I'm making my card deck technical, but I know how my head works. So, anywho, detox, letting go of what no longer serves. Notice that I've put a volcano on this card, and I put a volcano for a specific reason, okay, because volcanoes sit there for the longest time, and they sit there dormant, and they look beautiful, and tourist attractions, and and then one day they wipe out an entire town, you know. And so it's things that are festering for a long time that we feel like we can keep down, but that one day they're eventually going to sit and come all over. The sunset card there talks about the end of an era. It talks about that time is ready to move on. It's ready to be let go of. Don't be afraid to take the good things with you, okay? Don't be afraid to take that with you, which is where the balance needs to come in, because the choices and directions that are sitting there, it's almost like we feel guilty for letting go of what's sitting there. But you're allowed to take the good things with you, but you're, most of all, you're allowed to take yourself with you, you know, and I hope that that makes sense in the regard of you're the most important thing. And if energies and peoples and everything else like that isn't serving in around you, you're allowed to let that go. Make the right choices and directions, and you'll see improvements of yourself and situations. But again, you need to let go of the things that are binding you, okay? And belief, as I said, you know, that belief of self, taking yourself forward with it, all right? Just, yeah, I'll leave that there with you, and I hope that it helps. But most of all, I just feel like you're, yeah, I kind of get that rat on a wheel kind of going around, and it's not because you're chasing your own tail, but it's because that cycle that's sitting there around you. And I don't, people put us in cages. Like if we think of ourselves as a rat, you know what I mean? We're not going to like go, oh yeah, I'll be domesticated and go put ourselves in a cage and shut the door and, you know, Somebody has put us there. And so just, yeah, know that you're allowed to also chew through the door and go, screw you, buddy. As wild, I'm out of here. All right, so I'll leave that there with you, and I hope that helps. Karen, work finances, please. Work finances, please. My head's going, that's 2 subjects, right? Work finances, please. I'm not picking on your grammar. Work's got compromise in and around it. So I guess if you're willing to make that compromise, and it doesn't feel like it needs to come into play for too long of a point in time, but it's almost like I want to say there's a bridge that's in between where you want to be, where you are, and where you need to be. And that bridge is there. You've just kind of got to go, I'm supposed to be on the train. Doesn't bring financial reprieve around as quickly as what you would like it to, but it does allow forward movement that will then be rectified like several months later. I'm just saying, you got so much energy going on around you at the moment. All right. So you've got the worry and doubt card that's there, okay? But it talks about taking them one step at a time. And when we feel overwhelmed, it's easy to feel overwhelmed. But if we start to sort of break it down and go, okay, this is what I can deal with. And if it comes in this way, boom, 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 boom. Where are you card there? Okay, now I'm sure that even just from your energy there, I feel like you know where you are as far as it sits. But again, that's where I talk about that bridge coming into play with it, okay? This card here isn't about relationships necessarily, okay? It's about you. This card talks about the fact that you know yourself well enough to stand in your truth and your happiness and your desires, okay? You've got stepping stones that are sitting there in front of you at the moment. And stepping stones, you know, in my head, I see it as the stepping stone sitting across this beautiful little creek that's got this wonderful meadow on the other side. And if we're willing to kind of, you know, take the risk and just do on those stepping stones as we need to do to get there, gets the job done, so to speak, it enables us to have a beautiful picnic on the other side. And what I mean by that is get you to where you need to be. I sat here in pool cars, so I'll just super quick show you, okay? But just standing strong, as well as laughing, I'm like, yeah, they're all cars just going, listen, you need to just just catch yourself and let yourself move forward here. You'll see the improvements of situations. Don't let yourself get held too back, okay, because of the choices and directions that are there. There's a little bit of external conflict that comes into play and around, and it is followed by the sheep in wolf's clothing. So trust your gut, trust your energy. Don't follow the flippant advice of others, okay? Allow yourself to back it up. Otherwise, I feel like you get walked into a couple of dead ends. But your goals are there, and that's where I say it's almost just that energy of it's time to pull up your sleeves a little bit and let that bridge come into play, and you'll find that that bridge just literally walked you where you need to be. There'll be a shift, okay? So we are here, and then again, several months later, again, you'll have the opportunity to rectify, okay? So I hope that that helps. All right. I'm going to catch up with the comments. You're welcome, Tara. You know what, Vicky? I'm going to answer this question, but I'm going to answer it in a non-psychic way, if that's okay, because self-sabotage is my specialty as far as my clinical side of things and things like that go. But, you know, it's such a simple answer. And again, here comes the, I'm not being cliche, but self-sabotage and things like that, it's this when self-awareness comes into play and mindfulness, obviously thereafter self-awareness, we can self-worth and self-esteem, all of those kind of little bits and pieces. We self-sabotage for a million different reasons, but generally there's a subconscious part of us that doesn't believe that what we're trying to achieve can happen. You know, it's something that, like, for example, imposter syndrome, or let's use a personal example. You know, I think that I probably self-sabotage for a number of years in this business because I didn't feel worthy of success. You know, I didn't feel worthy of things like people would say to me, oh, I can see you've been really busy lately. And the first thing that I would respond with was how many bills that created and all of those kind of things, because how dare somebody think that I'm doing okay? You know, it's not that I was doing okay, but it was like, you need to know that because how dare I kind of, you know what I mean? And it's that self-sabotage that kind of gets in the way. And so that's where, as I said, it's that lack of, when it comes down to it in basic terms, lack of self-belief, lack of trust. And then that when we bring that back down, that starts breaking it down to self-worth, self-esteem. When we start looking at self-worth, self-esteem, we need to have a look at why and where and all of those kind of little bits and pieces that's there. I'll pull you a couple of cards because obviously, you know, you're asking in a psychic sense, but ultimately though, that's the truth of it. There's nothing psychic about it. You know, we are self-sabotaging because there is a part of us that doesn't believe that we're worthy of what we are chasing or what we're sabotaging against, you know. And it's not necessarily always from us. Pre-pattern behaviours and all of those kind of little bits and pieces. It's funny, I'm pulling two, and not meaning to. Okay. So you've got that dead end card that's there, okay, which talks about the fact that this way just doesn't work, all right? This way doesn't work, beating your head against the brick wall. but you are secure in your choices and in your decisions. All right. So it talks about the things that you want, you're safe to go and get. But right now, you're in a place of self-denial, which is self-sabotage. You'll see it's written on the bottom. Self-sabotage, release, our refusal and stubbornness. That's there. And again, that stubbornness and that refusal isn't like, it's it's a different kind of energy. But being positive, your attitude is a choice, and it is. Ultimately, at the end of the day, it is, because we get to choose on our perspective and the way we look at things. But when we're more aware and more sure of ourselves and love ourselves more, it helps us look at things in a much better light. So you need to stay connected to yourself. You need to listen, express all of those wonderful and beautiful things that it says. Okay? I hope that helps. And if you're ever in a position where you're like, you know what, let's have a look at that a little bit deeper. On you go. All right. Who am I? I am Elizabeth Bratcher, psychic medium, but I am also I have a master's in counselling and psychotherapy, and I'm also a clinical hypnotherapist as well. My specialties are trauma, grief, empowerment, life recovery. But those two worlds are like that because I am. Need to, as far as it sits. The clinical world isn't too big on the psychic one, essentially. And I'm very, very strict about that, to be quite honest with you. I might giggle about it, but it's something I'm actually very strict about. All right, let's stop gibbering, Liz, and get on with the show. Barbara, and then I'm going to pull a card for Shannon, and then I'll do Elise as well. Let's go on a little bit of a roll. All right, Barbara. That's nice. I've got like I'm in I don't know, I feel like an old, I'm going to say pub, but I'm in like the 50s, I feel like. So I feel like I'm more of in the lounge. I can see this guy just off in the background playing a guitar, and he's Barbara. I don't know why. That's just how the head goes. All right, Barbara. You know what, too, though? That the music's important, and it lets us feel playful, and it lets us feel cheeky and mischievous, and all of those other little things that music does bring delight to. And so I want to actually acknowledge, because as I try to sort of put that to the side, when I am tuning in, what I get is relevant, and it is important as far as it sits. And so I don't want to be so flippant. And just, let the music play, okay? Because when the music plays, it lightens. It doesn't fix everything, but it certainly lightens the load around us, okay? All right. You've got the Where Are You card. You've got the path of the answers are blowing in the wind. Jesus, that spirit card's so strong there. I just kept wanting to go, you got the spirit card, but you've got the spirit card that's there as well, okay? When I sit with the energy in and around with this Where Are You card here, it's like, well, where are you? And it's like, I can answer that question, as in you can answer that question, because I feel like it's like, well, I know where I am, I know where I want to be, and I know what I'm doing, essentially, to not let that happen. And I'm no means saying that this is your fault by any yards of the stick. What I'm saying is you're aware of the barriers that are there, and there's a reluctance to kind of enforce those barriers to shift off a little bit, okay? The path is there. There's going to be lessons that come in along the way. Some of those lessons will have a little bit of a price to pay as far as it sits. But again, I feel like you're aware of that, and you've kind of weighed those things up there as well, okay? So that spirit card, it always talks about support. Always, I don't care, listen to me. What I'm trying to say is that card, oh my God, listen to me over-explaining myself. It's so funny that I am, because I thought about this card specifically before I started the live feed tonight. But when I made this deck, it was a purely psychic deck, and Spirit wanted a mention. And so all I'm trying to say is that I have a lot of faith in the fact that when this card appears, Spirit is very much letting you know that they are around, they are supporting the situation. You've got to roll up your sleeve and make the hard choices here at the point, just to let it start moving forward. Wishes were kisses, and promises of womises. Been waiting too long. I'm sorry, but waiting too long. You know what I mean? It's time to move the energy forward, okay? I know it's not as simple as all that, but that's where that roll up the sleeves and make some hard decisions comes into play. So I hope that helps, Barbara. All right. Shannon, could you pull a card for me? No, I can pull 3 for you. Shannon. Oh, you know what? I'm laughing, you'll know why. But anywho, I am just remembered that I meant to tell you guys, if you use the code WINTER, there is 50% off of email readings until Sunday. I've kept it unlimited, so you can book it as many times as you want. You have 10 questions, that's fine. You can book it 10 times. But put in the code WINTER and you'll get 50% off, which drops it down to $7.50 for a 1-question email reading. And tomorrow will be a day that I can actually get to them quite promptly because I'm on another admin day. So delight me with some 1-question email readings. You can book them on my booking system. But yep, up until Sunday, they are 50% off. All right, Shannon, let me focus on you. All right. You've got the improvements of self and situations card that's there, okay? You've got the growth card, which talks about opportunity, self-awareness, and potential. You've also got the intention card, which asks you where your energy lays, okay? Lies. I wanted to see where the energy was going, and you pulled the spirit card, so I just kind of giggled and went, yeah, I'm not surprised. And so, yeah, it's you've got a grandmother energy attaches to that, and it's like, yes, we'll kick your bum if we need to, and I feel like you know that about her. All right, the improvements of self and situations card. I feel like this is just a little reminder that's sitting there for you, okay? The growth card that's there, self-awareness, opportunity, and potential. It's like, look, this is where we're heading. It's all good. The intentions energy that's there. By no means do I want to imply that your energy is causing a disruption or those kind of little bits and pieces. Again, it kind of comes through as a to keep the faith. And it was funny because I didn't want to continue the spread. I just wanted to pull one more card. So for me, you know, that energy with the intention and the spirit card kind of sits quite nicely because, again, I keep getting keep the faith, keep the faith, keep the faith, keep the faith. All right. And so I want to leave that energy that's there with you. You know what's funny, just for what it's worth as well. Okay. Not right this second, but getting taken back to the backyard. Okay, and like I kept seeing like little quad bikes and dirt bikes and bits and pieces like that going round and around and around, and like gardens and those kind of little bits and pieces. And so when I talk about, you know, I can't be out the front, but I can be out the back, that's because I'm watching all of this energy that's there and little things that you kind of like, oh, this is my project and this is my project. So there's a really strong intention for the energy that's out there. Keep that intention, keep that energy flowing. All right. So I hope that helps, and I'll leave that there with you. All right, Elise. I'd love a card, please. All right. Okay, I know I want to connect deliberately for a reason with you, okay? Because I know that I pulled the cards for you a couple of weeks ago, Elise, all right? And I want to mention that simply because it gets given to me that your energy has shifted forward. It's like, you know, stronger plans in place, intentions more clear, all of that kind of energy that's there. I don't want to make it big and dramatic, but it's certainly enough for me to want to go, hey, I actually want to link back here and let these two join a little bit, which I never do. And so you've got... I want to be you know, I just want to give this to you. So it's not like that. You've got the cycles card that's there, which talks about beginnings and endings being a natural order, okay? you've got the heartache card, which talks about challenging matters of the heart. You've also got the changes card that's there, which talks about being open to embracing the changes. I wanted just to see where that energy was going, because it was going a little bit in a direction, which I'll tell you in a second. You got the improvements card there of self and situations. You've got the reminder card that it's time. You know it and you feel it. Okay, this energy that's sitting around, you know it's time to be actually acting on it. And then you've got the completions card there, which talks about, one door closing and another one opens. What I want to say to you underneath all of this is that, again, instantly the energy is positive, it's forward, it wants me to move forward. And it's like, hey, from here to here, it's like we've gone, boom, so much so, as I said, that I wanted to connect it. What comes through here is the bitchiness, and it's not your bitchiness. I want to say it potentially is coming at you. And I want to give it to you in context, because it's not like that as well, it is, but you get me, okay? Because I keep getting the message, who do you think you are? And it's like this night energy that's sort of sitting in the energy fields around, who do you think you are? And so what I want to say to you is that you know your place, you know your energy. I always say, like, I go, this is an industry of love and light. And I always go, love and light my ass. There is 100% people with love and light energy in here, but there's a reason why I say I've met God 9 times now. Okay. And so just be aware of that. I feel like I don't need to extend it beyond that. You're aware. Don't let it get in your way. That's the biggest energy. Do not let it get in your way. It'll be like, gone, finished, over with. Allow yourself to keep moving forward, okay? People have always got comments and opinions and those kind of little bits and pieces that are there. And I just feel those challenging matters of the heart is going to be people that you thought perhaps were a little bit more supportive, a little bit more there, aren't necessarily going to be. But it's okay. You have your intention. You have your plan. Just keep moving forward with it. And you watch how gracefully it falls back into play. And you know what the biggest reminder with that is that all that new energy is actually going to match your intention. Bringing old energy back into play, and not that you're trying to drag it back in, but, loyalty, support, blah, 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 is actually bringing back old energy that's gone. So you don't want it anyway, okay? So just, you big smile on my face, because this is like, don't worry about it. I know it's easy to say, but it's good. Just keep moving here, honey. You'll see. All right, so I'm going to leave that there with you, and I hope that it helps. All right. Catching up with the comments. Nice. It's funny. Barbara says, let me show you. Barbara says, thank you. It's interesting you start talking about music while shuffling the cards for my reading. My husband was a musician and my daughter is involved in the music industry. I'm always playing upbeat music, AC/DC, if I don't feel like doing it, to get me through the housework. Such a perfect thing. And my mum's a AC/DC kind of gal. But it was funny because I'm just giggling to myself, God, it's almost polar opposite to that, scene I get taken back to 40 years ago, where we're sitting in, like a lounge and listening to the guitar and live music and things like that. It, made me smile. I feel like perhaps there was a little bit of taste difference there between you both in a much loved way. All right. Let me catch up a bit with the comments here. What's going on? What is that? Oh, there we go. I'm just catching up with the conversation. My God, spot on. In the last year, I've lost 40 kilos and now I'm sabotaging all my hard work. I'm binging and destroying myself. I'm in therapy and my therapist said exactly the same thing you just said. I'm trying to be nice to myself and believe that I'm worth everything in life, but it's not working. Can you recommend a good book for me to read, please? Thank you so much. Nice. I can see that Shannon has recommended Jim Katsoulis. You know who I don't mind? I haven't listened to Jim Katsoulis. I'll be honest with you. I'll have a look at him too. I like the Mindset Mentor. He's trying to think if it would like fall into the same line, because I don't listen to him for business or anything else like that. I listen to him for like mindset and things like that. But the Mindset Mentor on Spotify, I like listening to him as well. His name's Rob Dwyer. Hey Vicky, I'll comment on the live feed later if I can. If just otherwise chuck me a comment somewhere, and I'll chuck you a comment as well. But it'll be me. Look for the blue tick beside my name. Okay, if I ever comment, there's a blue tick beside my name. It's me. Rosemary Johns. Hi, Elizabeth. Card, if drawn, about my son, please. Yep. He's going to do what he wants to do. He's going to go the way he wants to go. There's definitely like a challenge or a hurdle sort of sitting there in front of him at the moment, but it's not one that he hasn't faced before either, I want to say. You know what I want to say too as well, just sitting there, what comes up is there's a better attachment to the emotional self as far as it sits, you know, and I think you'll understand the context of that. And so it's almost like there's you know, when we feel something more, we feel something more. Therefore, there's more reaction, there's more consequence, for want of a better word, you know. But by feeling it, it becomes aware, and that can be a good thing too, of processing and those kind of little bits and pieces, you know. And so when I sit with his energy, there's such a big, long story that's there behind it. I don't feel like I'm just sitting on the last couple of years or the last 5 years. I feel like I'm sitting on the last like kind of 20 when I make reference to what I'm sitting with, you know. Self-forgiveness seems to be a big struggle as well to come into play. A lot of stubbornness and those kind of little bits and pieces that are there. The trial and tribulations that are sitting there right now will find a way through, okay? I feel like we're kind of sitting on the next 12 months as far as it sits. And I must keep saying I get quite drawn financially and around the home, but work kind of sits and flows with that and enables. Let me pull you a couple of cards. All right, so where are you card that's there? The new beginnings card that's there. Got the yes card, hence the emphasizer on top of the grounding card. So knowing that I'm sitting and drawing energy in and around for there. But again, it's just that reflection of where we're at and things like that. Just much like I said, so let's keep it in that context. There's as I said, there's a shift here. Okay, so there's new beginnings and those kind of little bits and pieces. Not only on a logistical surface level that's there with it, okay, but on a deeper side of things. You may find that trials and tribulations of relationships are not yours, okay, but his, start kind of forking like that for a little bit of time. And so, you know, advice as far as it sits around keeping ourselves grounded and those kind of little bits and pieces. But, you know, you can lead a horse to water. I hope that helps. All right. I'm going to catch a couple of comments here. First one, Beck Hill. I'd love a card, please. If anyone's on here that has asked a comment, because I can see there's only 8 of you on here at the moment, and so if I've read for you, wonderful, thank you for sticking around. If I haven't and you're waiting for one, can you comment again for me? Because I'll come down and I'll catch who I can and then start to wrap up. All right. Beckkill. Oh, it's 2 eyes. Sorry. My glass, I was a little bit far back. I've got my writing on. It says Becky. Sorry, my apologies. You've got a nice energy sitting around you. I want to say there's a lot of positive movement that's going to sit for you over the next few months. I feel like there's recognition and reward that comes into play off of that. You've got growth, okay, that sits there, opportunity, potential, self-awareness. You've got a little bit of internal conflict, and you've got the card that's there. If it looks like a duck, walks like a duck, and quacks like a duck, it's a duck. And for those of you that know, that's probably one of my most synonymous sayings that I have, and look what I got to join it. I don't give a duck. Anywho, well, let me sit with your energy that's there with it, okay? Because as I said, for you yourself, as I said, there's a nice positive energy that's there. I feel like you're going to be offered opportunity, and that feels like reward and praise, and with, you know, promotions, those kind of little bits and pieces that's there within the context of where you'd expect it to be. The growth, the internal conflict, looks like a duck, walks like a duck. Tall poppy syndrome is what comes into play here. I feel like as you begin to move forward, you're all going to recognize a little bit more around the friendships and things like that that are not so much in alignment anymore. I don't see conflict and fighting and all of that kind of stuff. I just feel like it's a bit of a time where it's funny where I talked about forks just before, but that's what I sort of see seeing around you. Just people going in different directions, and you're going to find that if we hold on too tightly to something that's sort of just trying to move on a little bit, it'll kind of just hold us back a bit. So again, there's not hate, I don't want to be negative with this. I just want to say that life shifts and changes. Don't hold on to things that aren't serving you at that particular time. Anyone that's meant to stay in your life, true friendships and things like that, you'll have a 10-year gap and you'll come back together like it was yesterday. Okay, so I want to leave that energy there with you, and I hope that it helps. All right, I'm going to catch up to the comments. So I've got Nicole, Sharon, Danica, Ebony, Leanne, Talia, and Ebony. Sweet. Okay. So I'm going to catch from, I said Ebony twice, but you're with me. All right. So let's just walk down the list and start with Talia, because Ebony, I'll grab on your question. All right. Talia. Would love a card if possible. Two for one. All right. And of course, you've got an emphasizer. All right. Okay. So you've got the transformation card there, which talks about blossoming into true self. How nice, you're blossoming into true self. But what this card is meant to represent is, that's why I put the flower on there as well, because blossoming into true self, it just means that you're really starting to kind of connect with yourself more, know more, be braver within yourself and all of those kind of bits. And it's not just like right now, but it's like that transformation is there. You're slowly turning the tide. There's completions that are sitting around. One door closes and another one opens, okay? And you also got the dead end card that's there, which talks about the fact that these ways around are not working. And it's not a wide sweep. It doesn't mean that everything that you're doing isn't working. It's those frustrations that you keep coming back to. It's like, let's have a look and look at the operating system behind it and actually see if this needs to shift a little bit, okay? You got the no card that's there, so that's always an emphasizer, and you got the healing card that's over it. And it's not emphasizing that no healing can't come in. Look at what it says. It talks about being patient, but allowing the healing to come in. I know you wouldn't have been able to read that. But healing is probably one of the hardest things that we can do, because so much forgiveness does come into play. Okay, let me just letting go of what no longer serves. It's been sitting there for a long time, and recognizing in life that a lot of shit happens. And it's not a flippant way to say it. It doesn't invalidate the experiences, but it's just that awareness that in life sometimes this is what happens, and just sort of confronting the fears that come in and around with that, all right? A little bit of heartache involved, but then the improvement starts to come in if we focus in on the bigger picture, knowing that beginnings and endings are a natural order, and that's okay. Keeping ourselves grounded, yes, we know, but it's time to clear out the stables as well. So what you need to know most for yourself is that you know yourself well enough to stand in your truth and your love, your happiness and your desires, but you have to be responsible for the shifts that you want to see, okay? Procrastinating to avoid delays. Look, fear and changes and all those kind of things, they're big and scary. The pathway's there, but you're not meant to have all the answers, okay? So it's like, come on. All right, so there's some underlying shifts and changes that you want to make. I feel like that's what these cards are drawing onto, and there's encouragement there for that direction that you're wanting to go is the one that you actually need to follow, okay? So I hope that helps. All right, Leanne. Leanne, Leanne, you're gonna laugh when I tell you this. Oh God, I love it. I wish I could still get it. See my shiny hair? Probably can't very much, but anyway, just before the live feed, I got my little flyaways happening, so I'm like, I'll make myself a little bit neater. And let me just say, I did so with Narcissistic. I was using Angel the other day, and these are dry perfumes that this beautiful, gorgeous lady used to create. And oh God, I love them so much that they're like these little cherished things that sit on my bathroom shelf, and I put them in my hair because it actually is. Oh man, it makes my hair feel beautiful because they've got vitamin E in it and stuff. Anywho, I love that stuff. All right. Leanne. And it's funny too, and I want to say to you, I always need to put out what I know as I feel like I'm not being honest. I feel like you saw your comment earlier about leather, business leather, and those kind of little bits and pieces. And it's funny because I want to draw on that because it's just like how excited I'm sitting right now. You've always had a way like this in I know that, you know, we stumble and fall and things don't necessarily work out the way that we want to and things like that, but think about the lessons that you've taken on the way with that too. I feel like you're sitting with quite a niche market as far as it sits, and yeah, okay, leather can be niche, I get that, but even with what that is doing, I feel like has that nicheness that's there to it. Okay, that's not a bad thing. I just feel like that niche is like, I guess, has to come in strong, which again you'd be aware of. Okay, is it the right time right now, or do I need to round something over? And it's like even just sitting on that for the next sort of 3 or 4 months. Yeah, sweet. Okay, the reason why I say that is you got the balance card that's there, and you got the heartache card. So it was like, I don't want to, you know. But a little bit of challenging because the energy is ready to move forward. But paying attention to the bigger picture and making decisions that are best for tomorrow, not necessarily for today. And I just feel like a little bit of patience needs to come into play. Again, not because everything's wrong or it's not the right time, but it's like I just need to let this, like I need to round this off first. I need to cap something. I'm capping something off here that will get in the way. Cap that off first, okay? I feel like it just creates this neatness and this superpower for you to be able to move forward. Just taking a moment, you've got the support around you. There's improvements and those kind of little bits and pieces. It's like the energy moves forward once we just kind of, again, just sort of sit back and go, okay, am I running a little bit, not bull at the gate, because I feel like if you're a bull at the gate, then mate, you already are that bull, and so that's okay. You know what I mean? A little bit of shit happens, and it's like shit happens. It's okay. Like we're it's all good. Just sit for a second, take 5, be open to embracing those a couple of little adjustments around you. There's perhaps a shift in the industry, the supplier sources, those kind of little bits and pieces. That's just creating perhaps that delay, even that you're not instigating, but it's being put on you. Okay, again, it caps off this. It's just sitting there like this. Okay, so from that point in time, your energy begins to move forward. All right, and let it like, yeah, research, business plan, do whatever in the meantime. Okay, this isn't a halt, it's a it's a skid. No, got you a pit going down a muddy hill on your ass. But if you were like, wee. All right, so I'll leave that there with you. I hope it helps. All right, Ebony, would love a reading, anything regarding my future. All right. So I'm laughing because your reading is just like so simple. All right. So you've got, it's funny, you're asking me, would love a reading, anything regarding my future. Okay. And it's I feel like when I sit with your energy that's there, I'm a little bit of a fly by the seat of my pants kind of gal, you know, and it's like, yeah, sure, I'm sure it's bit you on the ass a couple of times, but it always seems to make you land where it is that you're meant to be, you know. And so when I say simple, I don't mean it's like simple. I mean, it's like it's such a clear energy that's there with it. And I'm sure you can see the smile on my face. So you've got improvement of self and situations that are there. So just stand strong, and there's joy, and that's where I say it's simple. Your 4th card out was a spirit card as well, just to let you know they got your back. But it's like I'm being reminded everything's in place here. Everything's in place here. You just got to climb that ladder and go down that slippery dip, and you'll be landed in a ball pit at the bottom, not the crocodile swamp that perhaps you're fearing. You've made sacrifices. You've put in time. You've put in effort. You know, as much as I sit here with a smile on my face and go, hey, I can feel the serious energy that's there behind it and things like that, which is where I just want to, give you a little bit of assurance to go, don't overthink here. Do the steps. You're prepared to make the choices and the sacrifices that need to come into play. Trust your gut. Trust your intuition. It's nice. Serendipitous is the word that I get, and I don't. It's funny, I guess I'm even overthinking a little bit because I want to explain it because it is just so simple. But you know what? I'm going to trust in that energy and just go, it truly is. You know, it's nice. But yeah, the road wasn't maybe so nice to get there. But I'll tell you what, mate, carrying those pavers along with you, it certainly made it smooth moving ahead. Enjoy the journey. All right. Tanika, Sharon, and then Nicole. Nicole, I thought of you when I held that cup up before. She always supports the ducks. I love it. All right, Tanika, let me bring my energy to you. Tanika. Okay. When I sit with your energy that's there, it's funny. I wanted to just draw back and to be reflective and to just really kind of, consider as far as it goes. When I pull your cards, you've got the crossroad card that's there, which talks about, directions, choices, and all of those kind of elements that are there. And it's a crossroads. We can keep walking forward in the same direction, or we can turn this way, we can turn this way, never go that way. But you understand, okay, there's not just one choice that sits here. You've got the self-care card that's there, which talks about it's time to stand in your truth and your honor and your awareness. And the reason why I said it's time to is because you've got the male card that's there, which talks about calling on your strengths. The female card in this deck talks about the fact that you are going to have to instigate the changes. You are going to have to be in control here and really put the energy in. The male card talks about it's time to roll up your sleeves and do the hard work for the opportunities and things like that are already there. Okay, so I wanted just to follow the story a little bit. You got the prosperity card that's there, but you need to focus on the bigger picture. You need to make choices that are better for tomorrow, not easier for today. Okay, so what I want to say to you is when I sit with your energy, don't let yourself sit stagnant. And when you start to notice that perhaps you start to feel a bit frustrated, a bit bored, a bit itchy in the skin, time to step back and reflect. Am I letting myself move forward, or am I keeping myself stagnant out of comfort and familiarity? Keep that in the context to which it implies. It's not like you're just like, but just I want to give you that energy that's there and keep it as a feather in your hat, because I feel that time will come. Okay, and that's when it's time to step back and go, all right, it's time for me to do the hard work. It'll pay off. All right, Sharon. I keep coming back to the fact that there's trials and tribulations, and I feel like these are heartfelt, so not battles and those kind of bits and pieces, but trials and tribulations to do with family members, in particular older family members. And I don't feel like it's like do we do this, do we do that? I just feel like it's like trials and tribulations, concerns, things coming into play, those kind of elements that are there. I just want to draw attention to it. It feels to be coming in quite particularly around a male energy that's there as well. Okay. It's funny. I just in case, I just want to say to you that this gentleman comes through kind of like not short, but not tall either. And I feel like as we get older, we lose a little bit of our posture. Okay, I feel like there's a little bit of a curl. I don't want to say the hair grew out, but even if it kind of sits there, I don't feel like it was all straight. It's got like this little bit of I want to say a little bit of salt and pepper in that, and obviously want to be gentle with that. It just feel like it's got that little bit of non-consistency through the grey energy that's there. Tiny little bit of a belly that's there. And I want to say that this person's lost a little bit of weight as well, because their clothes do sit bigger on them. And the more that I sit and I talk about this person, their energy kind of tends to keep coming forward in and around. And I just want to say, just in case this person is sitting in spirit, they sit very strongly around your energy, okay? So I just want to leave that there with you. So sometimes people that aren't necessarily so cognitively attached to themselves will come through the same way. But yeah, in whichever circumstance, I just want to give that energy there for you. All right, as I pull your cards, you've got the grounding card, which talks about just keeping yourself connected, okay? The health card that's there, which talks about paying attention to your health. It's not just about physical health, mental health, spiritual health, emotional health, all of those kind of little bits of elements that's there because there's a little bit of internal conflict. And that's where I say there feels to be trials and tribulations as far as it sits. But just sitting with a positive attitude, and when I say sit with that, I feel like your intention's in the right place. Be sure of that and just allow it to keep following through. So trust your intuition because there's a little bit of sheep and wolf clothing energy that's there. And I feel like that may be people not necessarily expressing their whole truths. And that may be for a gentle reason. Again, I don't want to go to conflict here, okay? I want to go to emotions, those kind of little bits and pieces. I'll leave all of that energy there with you, and I hope that it helps. Nicole. All right, I'm going to read for Nicole, and then I'm going to do one more reading after that. And so after that, I will put up the next event on the live on the Facebook page and on Instagram and YouTube of when I will be live again. So please, guys, if you are here and you don't follow me already, always appreciate that you do. Ballina, 29th and 30th of August. Pre-bookings are open. Email readings are 50% off until Sunday. Just enter the code WINTER, and a one-question email reading will literally cost you $7.50. All right. Nicole. Nicole, your intuition's starting to peak up. It's funny, you've probably seen 100 times. My hands always got energy and I sit with you. But it's funny, as I was sitting there and things like, I kept wanting to bring them. I won't clap because it'll just be noisy, but I want to go bang. And as I was doing that, there's this beautiful like gold star of like, like a sparkler just come, out of my hands like that. It's like, boom. And it was like this woman is really starting to harness in on her power. Be mindful of that. And I don't say that be mindful of that, but you are. And sometimes that causes frustration or over awareness and those kind of little bits and pieces. So just let me validate the background. Yeah, that's a power energy. And I know power in the right word. Okay. You've got the worry and doubt card that's there. Just taking things one step at a time. I actually feel like I'm more sitting on your work side of things when I sit with this. You've got the clearing out the stables, out with the old and in with the new, and you've got the support energy that's there. I just want to say to you that the challenges that are sitting in and around, perhaps things are moving a little bit of unsurety within the context of work, not necessarily like I'm a hero, I'm not, but like things moving and those kind of elements will clear soon, okay? It's funny, it's like you've got little facets around you causing you several spots of frustration that's there. But again, it's such a clear energy around you. You've got this 2-3 months of just like bits and pieces around, and then it all starts to clear off. I keep wanting to go, thank God winter's over. It's almost like that. I always say I call my dressing gown the cloak of doom. And you'll notice like I'm sitting here in a jumper, I've got a singlet underneath, I've got a jacket on the top. Don't do cold. I do not like it at all. I don't like the kind of energy that's there with it. And I feel like you're kind of coming out of that winter energy as well, if that makes sense, okay? So for what it's worth, let me say to you, I feel about 2 or 3 months of just, it's funny, I want to say trials and tribulations again, as far as it sits, and I would just use that, but the word fits as far as it goes here as well. So just sitting around you, and then it sort of clears out. There's such a nice, better energy that's sitting around you in the spring side of things that's there too. Now, it's funny, I'm not sure if you're clearing out around home or needing to move, but if that happens around that time, that's sitting there as well, okay? As far as the work side of things goes, as I said, 2-3 months, it'll just kind of chill some pills, all right? Every time I say work, I keep getting friendship that comes up with it as well, so I'll leave that there with you as well. All right, who's going to be my lucky last? I'd rather not know. And that's hence it's probably frustrating for you comment. That's there, and intuition. Yeah, okay. I guess that's a little bit of a contradictory statement. I was going to say intuition isn't just about knowing, but I guess it is. It's about awareness, and that's knowing, isn't it? But I don't know. If you know, you know, I guess. Dude. And you know what, too? Like that gold sparkle, yeah. I feel like I'll be going, now listen here, woman. No, it's a good thing, all right? You let me just show you. All right. But yeah, just fight it and do what you like, but it'll fight you back. All right. Yes, I know. A couple of you have caught me right there at the end of a live feed. It has been a while, and it's been, honestly just time for me to get things back in the water. I finished my master's and finished a certificate late last year as well. Bring the sides of the business into play, recovering from the exhaustion of that, putting everything in order, had an operation, been recovering from that, all of those wonderful things. And so I feel like I've been on a really big cleanup list, and that list is just charging to move forward now. So I'm excited to what the rest of the year is going to bring. Jade, your energy is what's sitting in my face. You can be my lucky last one this evening. And so, guys, I know these will start to click out as I read for Jade. And so I do want to say thank you very much for being here this evening. And Jade, I am here and I am present with you. I just want to say to everybody as you begin to click out. Isn't that cool? But I appreciate your support for being here, and I always appreciate a follow. So some of you do begin to leave this evening, just know, again, I appreciate you being here. But Jade, let me bring my energy to you as I make you my last reading for this evening. Okay. Your cards, you've got a change of luck, energy shifting around you for the better. You've got the freedom card there, which talks about release and love and determination and all of those kind of little bits and pieces. But then it follows up with the frustration card. And it's almost like, when we kind of standing on the block in the deep end of the pool, if we're scared of water like me, and it's like we want to jump in and we're ready to jump in, but we're scared and we're kind of like, I feel like you're almost caught up in that energy that's there. So be excited by that, because it means that that trepidation is there to ready to move on to bigger things. And so let your energy jump, all right? Just hold your nose and you'll come back up, all right? Balance is a little bit of a reminder to come into play there. So when we talk about balance, remember what it is that you're working towards and what it is that you want, and just reflect on what's around you as far as where it's serving and those kind of little bits and pieces that's there as well. You've got a little bit of self-sabotage that's going on around you, but you know what? I feel like you'll justify that, and that's fair and very well may well be justified. It'll bite you on the ass enough times, so you'll adjust it when it needs to. All right, so my energy for you is just, I don't want to just be as simple as go, well, things are shifting for the better for you, But truly, it just feels like that energy is there. I feel like it's come off the back of, I'm going to say a little bit of loss, but loss looks in lots of different ways, so I don't want to be too catastrophic with that. But it does. It just feels like, and now we get to shift and move forward. We have to let that change of luck come in. Don't fight it, okay? Because sometimes we're like, this is a bit too good to be true, or we're not used to it, or it's a little bit uncomfortable, so we, sort of slip back. Catch yourself doing that, okay? Because I feel like that's probably part of that reason you ended up in that frustration, all right? So some self-discipline will serve you well, which is always fun, but it pays off, all right? So, Jade, I'll leave that there with you. All right, guys. Thank you very much for joining me this evening. I have been live for about an hour and a half now, so I'm going to leave it at that. However, for those of you that are on TikTok, you will catch me tomorrow evening at 7:30 live on there. I'm under the same username, Psychic Medium, Elizabeth Bratcher, Psychic Medium. But again, thank you so much for joining me this evening. It has been a pleasure reading for you guys. I look forward to being a bit more consistent with the live feeds as they come back into play. Remember that I am at Ballina, and one more time, just because I can. as I always say, guys, if you can't be good at it.